When we think of minimalism, usually what comes to mind is a light, pretty empty space, clean lines, white furniture, minimal decor, and something that looks quite clinical. And if I'm honest, not a space that I would particularly like to live in. And if, like me, you are passionate about adopting a minimalist lifestyle, but want some warmth and coziness in your home, then I'm going to give you some tips on how you can create a cozy, warm, minimalist home. And by the way, I'm not sharing this with any type of interior design authority. This is just what I think will be helpful to create a nice, warm, minimalist environment. So feel free to take what's useful and discard what's not. So the first tip is to pick some functional furniture. And what I mean by this is that you've got furniture that serves multiple purposes. This might be having a sofa bed. It could mean having a coffee table with drawers. We've got one of those and it's great because obviously we get to use it as a coffee table, but we can also put books or small electronic items in there that we tend to reach for, but the drawers can be shut and everything can be hidden away. But it's not only to create a sense of kind of less clutter, it's really about trying to make the space work for you. So when we bought the furniture for this home, we wanted to choose some warm woods and some nice details that just gave the furniture a bit more of a unique look, if you like. So the coffee table and our bookcase, even though they are not matching in the sense they came from the same range, they've got the same detail and we just thought that tied in nicely. And we also liked the metal legs on the coffee table. So even though I guess metal can be cold, the wood itself is warm and that's the kind of the largest bit of the coffee table. Also with our bookcase, obviously we've got the bookshelves, but there is a drawer and we weren't actually using that drawer for anything. But when we got Miss Tala, that has become Tala's toy drawer, which is great because again, that means we can keep all of her toys in there, keep them out of the way. So the next tip is to bring a bit of nature into your home. Now I love indoor plants. I do think they bring a warmth into the home. I think they bring a sense of calm. Some plants also help to purify the air. I do like being out in nature, so it's nice to have a bit of nature indoors. But what I would say is that if, like me, you don't want to have to do too much with them, choose some low maintenance plants. Choose ones that don't really take a lot of looking after and they can withstand a bit of neglect. Not that we deliberately neglect our plants, but sometimes we do forget to water them. But the plants we've got are quite hardy. We've got some peace lilies, we've got a yucca plant. They're quite hardy plants, and if they start drooping, we just top them up with some water and they come bouncing back. The next tip is to create some intentional spaces in your home. So I think if you've been consuming minimalist content for any length of time, you will know that the word intention or the idea of intention is really important. It's about being intentional in how we choose to spend our time, what we choose to spend our money on, and also what we choose to put in our space. So think about what you want for each space in your home. This is our living room. We don't have two reception rooms, we just have this room. So over there behind the camera, we do have a dining table and 4 chairs. This area here, we've got sofas and coffee table, and then obviously we've got the bookcase. So everything in here we've chosen, we've been very intentional about what we wanted in here. The space is the space, so it's a bit difficult. I guess if you've got a bigger space, you can have more intentional spaces. You might want a part of that room dedicated to reading. So you might want a chair and a lamp, and you can go over and sit into the chair under the lamp, and that can be your space for reading books. Oh, how I would love that. Someone I know has a small room where they have all their musical equipment, like the stereo, their record player, they have some really huge speakers, and they've got a sofa in there. So for them, that's the room that they go in to sit and listen to some music, which I think is wonderful. If you do have a room you could dedicate to that, that's great. But you can also dedicate bits of a room. You don't have to take up the whole room with that space. I mean, if we really wanted to, and we wouldn't, if we wanted to get rid of that sofa, which is Tala's sofa, you know, I could put a chair over there, or I could use that corner for my reading corner, but that is her corner. I'm not messing with it. If you sit and think about it and plan it and be more intentional about it, there's probably things you can do with your room in terms of how you arrange it and how you want each bit to serve you. Another tip is to embrace natural light. So we're really lucky because we've got some patio doors that go floor to ceiling, so we do get a lot of natural light in here in the day, which is wonderful. Not so great in the winter, is it, when it's dull, but in the summer it's beautiful. And I just think it helps to make the space look bigger and more inviting. If you can find ways of getting natural light in, then do that. Other ways that you can maximize the natural light is putting mirrors strategically in certain rooms to help enhance the amount of light in that room. You might want some sheer curtains instead of more opaque ones, again to help more light come in the room. The next tip that I found helpful is choosing neutral colours. So I tend to be more drawn to neutral colours in terms of decor anyway, both me and my husband do. And the decor of this room was quite neutral. There's a more kind of featured wallpapered wall there, but again the colours are quite muted. But the walls are like this really nice light grey colour. And so we got some curtains for the patio doors which are a bit darker than the wall, but I really like them. I really like grey. And we also got grey sofa covers for when Tala came because they help protect the sofas. We already had this throw, so this has got light blues and grey check on it. These all got put on once we got Tala. Beforehand we had just the bare sofas which are brown, like an earthy brown, but we knew it might be a bit risky leaving those exposed, so we've had to put covers over them. But again, we've still chosen neutral colours to keep the space nice and pretty neutral. There's the odd splash of colour. I've got a painting on the wall there which I love. I brought it with me when we moved and I definitely wasn't getting rid of that. I'm not really sure if the colour goes with the rest of the room, but I don't care. But you know what? You might not be a neutral colour person. You might like lots of colour. So if that is something you enjoy and you want your space to be like that, then do that. There's no one size fits all. It's all about thinking about what works for you. And I'll be honest, it's not just the decor that is going to help you create a cosy, warm, minimalist home. There's another philosophy or practice that relates heavily to minimalism that I think helps to create a cozy lifestyle, and that is slow living. And if you haven't heard of slow living, it's all about not necessarily slowing down the pace of your life, although that can form a part of it. But again, it comes back to this intention of being careful about what you choose to do in life and who you choose to have in your life, being very intentional about that so that you can get the most out of life. And if you want to find out some ways that slow living can transform your life, then check out the video that's on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.